Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF, mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify their fitness journey so they can lose weight, regain their confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Let's go. Hello there, fam. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. And I am your host, Nathalia Melo. I'm super excited to be here with another solo episode after having quite a few episodes with our incredible guests. But I have a lot of thoughts about something that has happened recently. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a solo episode so I can articulate on this better. And especially now that my head is a bit cooler, I actually did a live on Instagram right after this happened. But I think that now I have a little bit more data to go by and to have this conversation with all of you. But before we get to the topic today, I want to make two quick announcements, not announcements. The first one is I just want to give a shout out to all of you who are leaving reviews for us in all podcast platforms, in the Apple Podcast and Spotify. I always want to say Shopify for Spotify. I always get confused, but it's Spotify. I'm really grateful that you're taking time out of your day to leave us a review. So thank you very, very much. And number two is I have incredible news. So I've been in the fitness industry for about 15 years or so. And for a while, I had always worked with supplement companies. And I'm not opposed at working with supplement companies. However, there were a lot of times for me that I worked with a supplement company and they had some bullshit products. I don't know, like detox tea or cleanser pill and all that bullshit that y'all know that I don't stand for. And they expected me to talk about it and they wanted me to, advertise it. And I'm like, I am not doing it. So that created a lot of conflict between me and the companies that I worked with. And so I just made the executive decision for myself that I didn't want to be put on that position again because I am not going to cannibalize and jeopardize the trust that y'all put on me. I know that a lot of people, oftentimes I'm blunt, I'm very direct, but one thing that I get often whenever I ask questions on Instagram, y'all tell me that you know that I'm going to be honest. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the trust. And I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that trust. In the short term, for a couple $1,000s, I'm not doing it. Not even for hundreds of thousands of dollars, I also wouldn't do it because, in my view, the respect from people and being somebody who you guys expect and know that is always going to be honest, that for me is invaluable and I wanted to stay that way. So I made the executive decision to stop working with supplement companies. And if you see, I don't really work with many companies. Like you don't see me advertising a whole bunch of stuff on my social, unless it is something that I have tried and tested. People can come and offer me a whole bunch of money, but if I haven't tried it and tested, I am not talking about it. So I was like, well, what if I start my own stuff? What if I start, like I get the supplements that I like, take out all the bullshit, and then I'll do my own. So that's how M-Body Supplements was born. And I was like, I'm going to start with a pre-workout. So I started with a pre-workout energy explosion. I tried it and I was like, okay, we need to do something more awesome about this. So it is a pre-workout with nootropics, which helps with mental clarity, with concentration. And I tried it and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. but it's going to be me just saying it. So I was like, okay, let me put other people to try it. So before we fully rolled out, my husband tried it and a few of our friends tried it, and every single one of them were like, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm like, right? So we launched, and I haven't gone crazy on social media yet because I first launched to the ladies in the Powerhouse Academy because I knew they would be honest with me. If it was shit, they'd be like, that's shit, because they know I'll take it. And if you were good, I know they would say, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever. So now I'm making kind of like the official announcement to the world because we've had so much positive response from the ladies that have tried the energy explosion that I was like, okay, all right. It wasn't just me. Good. So today I'm making the official announcement of incredible pre-workout. And it's not just me saying it. It's literally almost all the ladies in the Powerhouse Academy saying it. You can find the link in the show notes. It's mbodysupp.com. So M, the letter M, body, SUPP.com. And to roll this out, I am going to marry y'all leaving reviews and then being able to also try Energy Explosion. So how's that going to work? From now until the end of September, every single week, we are going to do a draw of all of those who leave a review for the podcast. So here's what you have to do. You're going to leave us a review, and then you're going to take a screenshot and you're going to send it to me on Instagram, Nathalia Melo Fit. And at the end of the week, we're going to do a draw for all those who left a review. And then we're going to send you one energy explosion to try. So every week until the end of September, we're going to pick one winner. So these are the announcements for today. And I'm so excited. I love that pre-workout and I'm so happy that everybody loves it too. Anyway, I digress. So now to change the tone a little bit, like I mentioned previously, this episode or this that happened in an Instagram live, and I posted about it as soon as it had happened. And I feel that since I've had more time to, research the data and have a little bit more clarity on what the data is and, try to remove my feelings a little bit because that's the thing with being a coach that does give a shit. Me as a coach, I cannot want it more than the person, but oftentimes I do want it more than the person. And it's hard to separate that. So I had a call with Mary. We're going to call her Mary just to protect identity and stuff. So I had a call with Mary. And for any of you that have never been in the process of joining the Powerhouse Academy, there is an application. And just because you want to join doesn't mean that you're going to join. 20% of those who are interested normally do not qualify to become a part of the program. And I know that for some people that might sound shady as hell, but kind of like I said before, I want to keep the integrity of the program. I don't think it's fair with my coaching team and with me and with the other members who are willing to put in the work to bring somebody who doesn't want change. And sometimes I do get a bit blinded by wanting it more than people, and I want to give them the opportunity. And it's something that I'm kind of working on. So I had the first call with this lady. And within 5 minutes of the conversation, she tells me, she's like, I need your help. I don't want to die. I'm like, that escalated. What? Like, wait, what? She had lost her brother, her dad, and her sister to health issues from, not taking care of themselves and finding out that they had an illness and really not caring about their health forward. And the prognosis was much worse because they didn't take care of their health. And she just cried and I cried and everybody cried because I don't think I had ever been on a call with somebody that literally asked me to save them because they didn't want to die. I don't know if you have ever been in a position like that, but it's, I'm honored, but at the same time, it's like, oh my God, like we're really out here, saving lives. So we had that first call and I was like, hey, listen, Mary, I really think that we might be able to help you, but I'm just going to know 100% after we have the second call. And in the second call, that's really where we're going to go deeper and see everything that's going on and see if and how we can help you. Cool, cool. We have the second call. And then on that second call, she goes more into details about everything that she has tried, Optavia, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, all the cheap bullshit that people try. And then it gives them the feeling of being a failure because those things are not set up in a way to help anybody succeed long term. I'm going to go on a tangent here, which is incredibly problematic because then it takes away the belief and the confidence from these women that there is something that can help them, that there is something out there that doesn't have to be as extreme, that doesn't have to be as on and off. Oh, I'm on a diet, I'm off a diet. It doesn't have to be that way. But all that cheap shit out there that people normally tend to gravitate towards because it gives fast, quote unquote, results in the long term is incredibly problematic because it takes the belief away. It takes the faith, the belief in oneself that change is possible. And they feel they're broken. So we kept on talking. She's like, oh yeah, I've tried this, I've tried that. And I'm like, okay. And she kept on repeating, she's like, if I don't do anything, I'm going to die. I'm going to end up like my dad. I'm going to end up like my sister. I'm going to end up like my brother. I don't want to die. And she kept on repeating. And I didn't know how to respond other than to just be like, okay, there is a way. There is a way. Let's see what the best way to help you is. Keep in mind that this is somebody who is eating out 3 to 4 times a week. This is somebody who has a decent job. And here was the part that broke my heart. This lady has a child in high school. And before she talked a little bit about her child who is in high school, she told me that, she was so uncomfortable in her body and that she was so embarrassed that she didn't want to go watch her children play sports, that she didn't want to go hang out with her friends because she didn't want to be seen by her friends. And at this point, she was just existing. She wasn't living anymore. I'm not even 50 yet. I'm not even 40 yet either. I'm 39 years old. I feel like I still have a lot of fucking life to live, man. And if I get to like 50 years old and you're already kind of like giving up on life, that's sad. When it's something that you can change, that you have the power to change. And the part that made me the saddest was the fact that her child in high school weighs 400 pounds. And she tells me that, oh, I don't know how I can help my child because I've told them that they need to be good and they need to pay attention. And I'm like, how are you going to sit there and tell your child to, do good and be good and eat right when you don't do it yourself? And I know that this is a big, bold, extreme example for a lot of moms, a lot of women. But I think that something can be said about this scenario on the impact that our own habits have on our children. We can sit there and talk about, oh my God, yeah, you need to eat healthily and you need to do this and you need to do that. But if you're not leading by example, if you're not leading by example with your habits, your eating habits, your health habits, with your confidence, do you really think that your child is not seeing that you're not like going to games, that you're refusing to wear certain clothes, that you don't want to be seen in pictures, that you don't want to go out of the house? Kids are not stupid. My 5-year-old, I bought a pair of shoes the other day. I didn't even walk out of my bedroom. My 5-year-old looked at me and she's like, are those new shoes? I'm like, yeah. How do you know? She's like, I can just tell they're new. Did you buy this week? So for all of you there who think that your kid is too young to notice things, my 5-year-old can tell if I get my eyebrows done, if I bought new shoes. Do you really think that you're not going to notice that you're running away from pictures, that you're refusing to go out, that you're wearing baggy clothes all the time, that you're always on and off a diet? So the example needs to begin with us as parents. And that was the part that made me very, very, very sad, is that now we have an innocent child. And again, I know that there is going to be, oh my God, Natalia, you're so it's fat phobic. I'm not fat phobic, but somebody at 400 pounds, that ain't healthy. I don't care what anybody says. A teenager who's still in high school weighing 400 pounds, it's not healthy. I don't care what anybody says. So we keep on talking. And whenever we get to the end of the conversation and I tell her what the investment associated with the program is, oh, I can't afford that. No, that's too much. And I'm like, ma'am, um, do you know how much a funeral is? Because if we're going to put things into perspective right now, that's next. And didn't come from my mouth, it came from your mouth. Oh, no, but I can't afford it. And based on the conversation that we had, based on the frequency in which this person told me that they eat out, it was doable. And I think that that is a big problem. It's the lack of perspective. It's too expensive compared to what? Compared to the Nutrisystem that you've done 500 times and you gained all the way back? Or is it too expensive compared to a funeral? Or is it too expensive compared to a diabetes diagnosis? Because I'm not out here advertising my program as cheap. I don't want it to be cheap. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're probably like, well, Natalia, but if you really want to help the person, you would make payment accommodations. Great that you say that. I've been doing this for 15 years, and that's how I used to think. 15 years ago, I gave so much of my service for free, so much of it, because I really wanted to help people, and I still do want to help people. But one thing that I realized is that who pays attention. There is plenty of research talking about, how the financial investment becomes the turning point for somebody to become more invested. How many of you have downloaded a whole bunch of free PDFs whenever you see it on Instagram and you never opened it? I can put my hand up here and tell you several. And I'm sure they have great information, but I'm not invested. I'm not invested because it hasn't cost anything. The moment that you invest into something, your identity kind of becomes wrapped in that investment, and it kind of like escalates your commitment. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But whenever, like what is the saying? Push comes to shove and the money is out there, people become more invested. I've spent just this year alone close to $100,000 just in coaching. And I show up to every single session that there is, every coaching event that there is. I wouldn't show up to those events and I wouldn't be invested had I not invested in it. So I know that it's easy to be like, well, Natalia, but if you really wanted to help, you'd have given it to her. You wouldn't make a difference. I would be doing her a disservice, and I would be doing myself a disservice, and I would be doing my team a disservice, because my team and I would be want this more than she wants it herself. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it because it was just so sad. I'm like, okay, is it too much compared to what? Oh no, I can't. I can't. And I can't help myself but to think 2-3 years down the line, what is going to happen if nothing changes? What is going to happen with this woman's child? What is going to happen to this woman if nothing changes? If taking care of her health and staying alive is not an investment, what is? This is a bit of a double-edged sword that I had to navigate for a long time whenever it came to the Powerhouse Academy, because whenever you really want to help people, you really want to help people. And I wish I could do everything that we do for free. And I think that that's kind of how I decided to do what I do for a living, because I'll do what I do for free. So that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. But on that same token, that cannot come at the expense of my mental health when I am more invested into something than the person who actually needs the help. And then I start to do a little bit of research and I'm like, okay, so yeah, I cannot afford it because I'll get somebody who tell me, oh, I'm just coming back from my second vacation to Europe, but I can't afford it. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. So I did a quick math on something that is very current right now. And I know for sure that this is going to give you a lot of perspective. Y'all know who Taylor Swift is, right? Love Taylor Swift. Wouldn't go to her concert because I'm not sure I can do the whole thing. But, I think she's a very good role model for younger generations. I think her music is like not trash. Like it's not like fuck that hoe, like that kind of language. So, love me some Taylor Swift. Anyhow, if you have been living under a rock for the past, I don't know, 6 months to a year, I'm going to enlighten you. So, Taylor Swift right now currently has a tour, 146 shows for the Eras Tour that is supposed to end in the summer of next year. She is filling up stadiums with up to 72,000 people. I just did a search for shits and giggles before I started this podcast, just because I knew that they were going for quite a bit of money, but I wanted to make sure that I had the accurate, most like up to date data as of today, the recording of this podcast. In Mexico City, the nosebleeders for Taylor Swift concert is anywhere between $600 and $1,155. Nosebleeders. In Miami, in nosebleeders, and I'm pretty sure that I have been to that arena where her concert's going to be. I'm pretty sure that that's where the Heat's play. The nosebleeders are nosebleeders. Like you can just basically see like a little dot all the way in the bottom. And to be on the nosebleeders in Miami next year, July 2024, the cheapest ticket that you can get is $1,200 up to $2,700. These are the nosebleeders. We didn't even get to the most expensive ones. I didn't even research the boxes and all this and the other. So why am I telling you this? Because whenever I had a conversation, even within our community in the Powerhouse Academy, I'm very open and honest with the ladies about my feelings about things like this. And something came up and was like, oh, but why don't you do scholarships like school do? And I'm like, that's a great concept and it's a great idea. But the problem is that in fitness, it does not work. I've given plenty of free everything. And people never even did 1 week of what I told them to do. When they opened, many times I could see in the back end that they never even opened their workouts. Everybody is talking about, oh, because it's the economy and it's easy for you because you are so privileged. First, I hate the word privileged because I think it's being so misused. I moved to this country and I don't want to make this the Nathalia Melo show as far as like, telling you about my specific life, at least not on this episode, but I think that this, for the context of what I'm going to talk about, it is relevant and important. I moved to this country with $350 in my pocket. I ate from the dollar menu because that's all I could afford. So if somebody comes to me and tries to tell me about privilege, fuck your privilege. Shove that word up your ass. And if you have kids in the car, I apologize. Because I worked my ass off. I cleaned restaurants overnight. I know what having nothing looks like and feels like, and having $5 to put gas in your car to be able to go to work. Because after cleaning restaurants, I worked in an Italian restaurant that served early birds. And some days I didn't even know if I was going to make enough money to pay for my gas to come back home. So I just wanted to say this for context of what I'm going to elaborate on here. But the reality is that people will pay for what is a priority to them, period. People will pay for something that is a priority to them. We have Taylor Swift with 146 shows filling up stadiums with the cheapest ticket being between $1,200 and $2,700. Who the fuck is buying those tickets? Because I don't see a line of millionaires lining up to buy those tickets. These are the same people who are saying that they don't have the money to invest in their health. Oh, that's too expensive. So taking care of your health is expensive, but spending $2,700 for a few hours to see Taylor Swift is not. And here's the thing. I am not saying that spending $2,700 to see Taylor Swift is a problem. I don't give a shit what people do with their money. What I do have a problem with is, oh, Nathalia, you should have scholarships. You should accommodate. Why do I need to accommodate my services in the level of professionalism in which we deliver our services, in the amount of expert experience that we have in our services with a counselor and a registered dietitian? Why should I accommodate their lack of priority? Why should I bend my rules and put me and my team in a position to give a shit about change more than the person gives a shit herself when there are people out there? Let's not even talk about Taylor Swift. Let's talk about, I don't know where you're at, but I am in Texas. Chick-fil-A, I'm going to look it up right now. How much are Chick-fil-A meals? All right, let's go look here. Because every single day when I drive by Chick-fil-A, you legit would think that they're giving food away because there are lines wrapping around the block with people waiting to get Chick-fil-A. And again, I don't have a problem with Chick-fil-A, but whenever you're paying, I don't know, let me look here what the prices are. Let's see here. I'm going to tell you because now I'm invested. So everybody's going on my expedition right now. Okay. So let's look at the meals. We have a Chick-fil-A sandwich meal. We're looking at about $9 before taxes and with no additional anything. So if you want a white bun buttered, that's an extra quarter. So give and take, we're looking at $10 per meal at Chick-fil-A. This is assuming that it's just for one person. So if you have two people, that's $20. 3-4 times a week, that's $80 per week. And this is just from Chick-fil-A. We're not taking into account, the Friday night hangout to a restaurant. Like my husband and I will go for dinner. I look at the bill and I'm like, holy shit, like how? How did we get here? And we don't even eat fast food. So, but hey, let's go have Chick-fil-A. Let's go out for food. Let's grab lunch and not bring our own. And all that shit adds up. I got a Starbucks the other day. It was like $9 for a coffee. $9 for a coffee. And it's packed. There is a line that wraps around the Starbucks that I drive by nearly every day. Again, I don't care if you want to get your Starbucks. I don't care if you want to get your Chick-fil-A. That's your money. You do with it whatever you want. What I do have a problem is on the same breath, whenever I'm being told, oh, you need to accommodate for those who need. No, I won't. Because the reality is that people will make a way for things that are a priority to them, period. Why should I bend what I perceive as valuable for somebody that doesn't value what we do or doesn't value their own health, who rather be looking at what the cost of a funeral is than what it is to take care of their own health? And this is not even taking into account the cost of being sick. Because in the US, if you look at the data, the average cost per person to have diabetes is about $13,500 per year. Okay, so here we have the American Diabetes Association. People with diagnosed diabetes incur average medical expenditures of $16,500 per year, of which about over $9,500 is attributed to diabetes. But hey, if you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you that you have to start diabetes treatment, oh my God, we're starting right now. Why is it that we are in a society that is willing to spend substantially more to be reactive than to be proactive and avoid that. Because whenever you have diabetes, it's not just about the cost of having diabetes. Whenever you have a heart attack, it's not just about the cost of having a heart attack. It's what you lose, the quality of life that you lose, the moments that you lose, the experiences that you're not able to have because your health is debilitated. But people only realize this when it is too late. So if this message can get to any one of you and realize that life is short and taking care of your health, it's going to cost you at some point. It's going to cost now to be proactive, or it's going to cost possibly more in the future to be reactive. Not to mention the moments that are going to be robbed from you because of your debilitated health. So if this message can get to one person and help them understand, and I don't care if I'm the one to help you, I do not give a shit who it is. I just want people to understand that there is going to be a cost associated with no action at some point. It's going to be cheap now, but is at what cost in the future? How much more expensive is it going to get when we have a much bigger problem at stake? I hear women telling me, oh, I don't feel good in my body. It's impacting my marriage. A divorce is expensive. At what point are we going to do something to feel better about ourselves, to show up better in a marriage, to be healthier, to be a better example for our children? It needs to start now. It needs to start today. Because everything that you're doing now is an investment that you're doing in your future self. I mean, if you want to have a six pack, awesome. Love me a good six pack, all about it. All about it. But I think that as you start to age, it's not just about having a six pack. It's not just about, being mean and lean and having like muscles popping. Love muscles popping. Love it. Love looking like an athlete. I love it. But oftentimes people are very short sighted and just think about it's going to be about the six pack. I don't want to have a six pack. No, but you want to be able to wipe your own fucking ass by the time you age so you don't have to ask your children to do that. And the only way that you're going to be able to prevent yourself from being in that situation or doing everything that you can, because we obviously cannot 100% prevent, shit happens. But the time to start doing something proactively to avoid that in the future is right now. Because oftentimes, and I see this time and time again, by the time people realize, it's almost too late. So if this message has spoken to you, you start doing something now. And just because something didn't work in the past, it does not mean that there isn't something out there for you. Do not give up. There is something out there for you. In the same way that it becomes more expensive, whatever expensive looks like, it can be, financially expensive. It can be memories that you cannot revive or you cannot try to redo, that you have not been able to experience because you were so self-conscious that you couldn't be able to be present at that time. Whatever the more expensive is or looks like, the more you wait, the more expensive it's going to become, because it's going to become a matter not just of getting you to your best self, but the more it goes on with your confidence within yourself being beaten, with your confidence on your ability for change being, beaten down, that is even more time that is going to take on the other side to undo all of that. So the sooner that you start, the better. Oh, but I'm 60, so what's the point? We had a lady who was 72 and she was snowboarding with her grandchildren. Don't tell me that just because you're 60 or 50 or whatever it is, there is still so much life to live. And I would hate for you to give up in life when there is something that is completely under your control and you are making the choice to do nothing. But ultimately, it is your decision. And I don't care if it is me, but please do something, because that call, it really made me feel a lot of feels. And I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to not think about it. So if you can do something to change today, do it. Do it. Make you a priority. Because if you don't, by the time you do realize that you need to make yourself a priority, it might be too late. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope this message has resonated with you. I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. If you like this episode, please make sure that you share it with a friend. That is the biggest payment that you can give me, is to share. So you can help me, you can help us make a bigger impact and help more people and help other people who might not be so much into fitness understand that fitness and eating in a way that aligns with your goals is much more than just having muscle and having a six pack. It's about quality of life as we age, and to put the best foot forward to make sure that we have a good quality of life and do the best that we can, although we cannot fully prevent it because life, but do the best that we can so that we can be independent folks as we age. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Adios. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment or voice message at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on Instagram and let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. As for today, this is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.